This video is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and I am in our garage where we're storing plenty of things that are farm related this season, including the tractor and also the dahlia tubers that I'm saving for the winter to start again in the spring because I'm in upstate New York, which is zone 4B, so dahlias are not hardy in these parts. My daughter is sitting 24 inches off camera staring at me. Can you see their hand? So if I'm looking that way a little bit, it's because I'm being stared at by a 14-year-old precious angel child.
Why'd you stop?
I don't know, because I was gonna call you a leprechaun. She's got green hair right now. Okay, anyway, so every year, people who live in zones such as myself who have to lift the dahlia tubers, it's always like, okay, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna store them? Where are you gonna store them? Because they require certain things. Last year, I decided to store some in clumps, and then I also used the saran wrap method, which is literally wrapping every single tuber after you divide them in saran wrap, and then keeping them cool for the winter months. I had about a 70% success rate with both leaving them in clumps and the saran wrap method. So I thought, why go through all the extra effort of the saran wrap method? It's a lot of extra effort. So I decided, what the heck, I'm just gonna store them differently this year. We'll talk about my method this year coming up in just a little bit, but we're gonna go back. Let's take a look back a couple of months. There are some clips that I never showed you guys from when I dug up my dahlias and labeled them. So we're gonna go back to October. This was mid-October, right after I got back from my trip to Texas, and I decided to lift the dahlias then. So let's take a look at the past. Hi flower friends, it's Nicole from Flower Hill Farm, and today I am going to label and start to dig up my dahlias. That's the plan. We had a frost about 3 weeks ago, and you don't have to wait until your first frost in order to start digging up your dahlias. They just need to have been in the ground for 120 days at least in order for them to kind of regenerate for next year. So anyway, I am making my way down. So I got home from Texas and all of the leaves are on the ground, except, well, they're not on the ground, but they're all changed. And then my two maple trees over here, they're naked. I have naked trees, which is super upsetting, but actually just walking down today. I'm not riding a Kubota or anything. I don't have anything to kind of carry back up. I'm gonna make a pile for the compost, but my main goal right now is to label the dahlias so that I don't have any screw ups. Oh my gosh, the cosmos for some reason. Let me switch this around. Look at those cosmos. They're taller than me. Oh my gosh. So this is the wildflower section that I just made up. It's just like a 6 foot wide section right here. Oh my gosh. I'm so impressed by this, guys. The cosmos are just taken over, and there's still other things. There's rudbeckia. Look, this whole entire section of bachelor buttons fell on the ground. We've got orange cosmos. The pink ones are just starting to wake up, and look, oh, that bee just hit my camera. Wow, ooh, there's some white cosmos in here. And this is all part of that, look at this. This is all part of that wildflower seed mix that I got from, I think, American Meadows this year. Wow. Yeah, that's impressive. I'm excited. Anyway, got a little distracted. There's a nice little section of it here. You can kind of see everything. Wow. Yeah. So I did a 6 foot section all the way up the side in the wildflower seed this year, just to see what it would do, because the pink cosmos in the back wildflower field never really bloom because the deer love them so much. But the deer, I guess, are a little hesitant to come up toward the house this far. So yeah, that's awesome. I had such a great dahlia season, and this makes me sad, but at the same time, it makes me happy because I did have such an amazing dahlia season. Look at them all. So it looks crooked. Is it crooked? So my only tools for today, flagging tape.
This is a trick that I learned from Erin at Floret. She uses flagging tape to label her plants. And then I have my garden marker. So this is a marker that writes on plastic that doesn't rub off. So I've used it for a couple of years now. It's fantastic. So these are my whole row of Cornell bronze. So I'm just gonna write Cornell bronze on the flagging tape, tie it at the bottom of the stem, and then when I cut these dahlias down, each clump will be labeled. I'm gonna go ahead and start labeling.
So I've got a few labels here. I'm gonna go bring them over and label the patch. So I just found the main stem coming up out of the ground and tied it on, and I can read what it is. Perfect.
Now I'd like to tell you more about the sponsor of today's video. It's HelloFresh. I'm always talking about the struggle of getting a meal on the table, so we decided to check out HelloFresh. And guys, many of you know I've been super sick lately, so it was so helpful that my teenage daughter Veda had some HelloFresh experience under her belt to help out with mealtime. This winter, there's nothing better than cozying up with a comforting home-cooked meal. And talk about the ultimate comfort food. We had shepherd's pie, and it was my favorite meal of the week. It was picture perfect and delicious. If you're looking for something quick and easy, there are more than 50 menu items to choose from. We also enjoyed the mozzarella and herb chicken, plus the one-pan pork fajita lettuce wraps, which were surprisingly filling. My son has already asked me to make them again. And HelloFresh produce goes from farm to table in less than a week for peak freshness. Go to HelloFresh.com and use the code FlowerHill14 for up to 14 free meals and 3 free gifts. And I'm telling you, get the shepherd's pie. Enjoy.
Well, I changed my mind. I think, gonna dig up at least one row of the dahlias. So guess what, guys? They're saying we might get snow this weekend. Like, snow. So I'm thinking, I better get stuff out of the ground while I can. So I'm loading up the Kubota with some bulb crates and like my loppers and my, I guess, what would you call it? Like a pitchfork? It's my pitchfork. So I'm getting that stuff and I'm bringing it down and we're gonna lift some dahlias. So I have all of the Cornell bronze labeled and lopped off with my rusty loppers. I need a new pair. They're a mess. And they don't open, like, normally I wouldn't bend down that much, but they don't, you like this, it's not open. You have to open it all the way. These are clearly not the right tool. So I need ones that open up wider with little effort. So anyway, I am gonna go ahead and get my pitchfork and lift these up and see what these tubers look like. I'm looking for signs of disease, and it basically kind of looks like maybe a cauliflower. That's what I ended up having last year on some of mine. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there will be no disease on these. My tool for this is a 5-prong pitchfork. You can use a 3-prong or a 10-prong or whatever prong you have. This was kind of the only one that my local store was selling a couple years ago when I bought it. So this is what I use. And it's basically just like lifting potatoes. You want to be careful that you're not going to damage the tubers. Otherwise that tuber will rot and it won't be viable for next year. Of course, the first one's gonna give me trouble. This one popped right off, which is totally fine. But look, it's already got, I mean, this is massive. I probably have 5 or 6 out of this one. Some of these small ones are not gonna store well. But we saved this worm. This worm's in with the mud. Come on, buddy. Anyway, so that worm's gonna have, ready, I just threw him. Anyway, so this one is a nice little piece. I could probably separate that out into 2 tubers, but I'm gonna store everything whole this year and see what happens in the spring. Oh, look at the baby. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a bulb crate. Look at that clump. That's amazing. I mean, that could be potentially 12 new Cornell bronze right there. I really love this dahlia. I'm gonna have to pay special attention to this one though, because in there, it looks like the ants were using this and their little ants keep coming out of here. So I'll have to make sure they're all out. I truly cannot get over how productive these are. Did you guys see the spider on my hand? It was massive. Whew. I gotta call Gina and let her know. I think I'm gonna give Gina a couple. My flower friend Gina, I gotta call her right now.
Hello.
Look at these! They're all produced, these are all the Cornell bronze, so you can have some. So I started lifting and labeling tubers and I just didn't stop. I'm 1.5 rows out of 4 done. It's been a couple of hours because it takes a long time, and I started like sitting on the ground and doing it, which was much more comfortable. It was kind of nice. So anyway, it's kind of like Christmas. It is like Christmas when you dig up these tubers and see all your potential dahlias. Like, look at this cafe au lait, for instance. Look at the size of these tubers it produced. I put 1 tuber into the ground and that's what I'm getting. It's incredible, and these things can get very expensive. Dahlias are not a cheap commodity. So if you can produce your own stock, that's awesome. And even you can sell some of this in the spring to some of your customers. I think I'm gonna start some early and sell them at my Mother's Day sale as already started plants. So I did the entire Cornell bronze row. You can see that's gone. And then I did the half of the second row all the way up. I just finished lifting the cafe au laits. I think I'm gonna stop there for the night because I'm exhausted and it's after 4 o'clock, and I've put in a full day already and I have some editing to do. But just for fun, let's dig up the Jessica dahlias. These are dahlias I started from seed that my sister Jessica gave me. Let's see what kind of tubers they produced because I started them from seed. Brad just got home from work. I heard him just start up the 4-wheeler. Okay, so this was the Jessica dahlia that was like the burgundy colors. I'm gonna cut it down. Ooh, it's thick on the bottom here. Holy, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm gonna be able to cut it at that level. It made a lot of branches, a crazy amount. I did pinch this, so it was super productive. I mean, like 60, 70 heads on it. You can see I didn't cut any of these. You can see all the seed heads. All right, then no, I'm not collecting seeds from this one. Okay, so I have these ones in Bio 360, the biodegradable corn-based product. And I'm gonna move that so I can dig in here and see. Let me get my clippers out of here so I don't accidentally lose those. Got a pitchfork. Shake her out. Okay, so I'm gonna save these ones. So here's the tuber from one of the Jessica dahlias. I guess it's a tuber clump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 viable tubers, and then a lot of smaller ones, which sometimes they don't last the season. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna do the other one. Apricot one. So I labeled it Jessica Apricot. I hate when that happens. This is all I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and and put some more work in. Okay, we'll see you then. Okay, so I ended up digging the rest of the dahlias over the next week or so. In fact, there were some that I left in the ground and that wasn't intentional. So I had to shift from digging dahlias to planting bulbs, and I had to do that rather quickly, and I had a limited amount of time here. I was like, okay, I gotta do one or the other. So I ended up leaving about 30 tubers in the ground, and I just dug them up Friday, just this past Friday. And they look great. So they were in the ground to like, I mean, December 15th, right? Was that Friday? Was it the 15th, 16th? Anyway, mid-December, which I've never ever done before. We usually have feet of snow by now. So let's take a look at how I decided to store the dahlias this year. And this method I found to be much quicker, but also hopefully as effective. We'll have to wait and see. So my tubers and the crates that I'm storing them in are behind the Kubota. So I have to move the Kubota out of the garage to show you, which means I have to move my car because clearly the Kubotas take precedent over my car being in the garage. Okay, so I'm using crates, and last year I stored them in the basement. This year I'm storing them in the garage. The garage is not heated most of the time. So we do have a pellet stove in here. We hang out here during the weekend days. We have a table set up, we have a TV set up. We hang out here a lot on the weekends. So we do turn the pellet stove on, but it doesn't really get that hot in here. So at night, the temperature does not dip below about 36 degrees in the garage, but it typically is between 40 and 50 degrees. Obviously, it gets a lot warmer in here when we turn the pellet stove on, but those are not for long periods of time. You would liken it to like a January thaw day or something like that. So what I did was I got some feed bags from the local feed store. They are kind of just like to contain the wood chips that I'm using. They're actually wood shavings. I got a bag of these bags and I cut them and I lined the crates with the bag, and then I'm using wood shavings that I got at the local tractor supply store, and then I have the tubers in here, and they've been in here for 2 months and they are solid, nice and firm, and there are no signs of any sort of disease or anything like that. This is the first time that I've actually checked them since I put them out here. This one is, oh, this is a Suki, so it's a big white, like a dinner plate dahlia. Very excited. So the reason that I decided to store them like this, I touched upon a little bit in the beginning. Let me put it back. So like I said last year, I saran wrapped half of them and then I just crated the rest. And I did not hose these off. I just didn't. I kind of let the dirt that was hanging onto them dry, and then I shook them off the best that I could. So while there's nothing wrong with those methods, just for me at this level with hundreds of tubers, I did not want to take the time. I actually didn't have the time to individually saran wrap all of my tubers. I did have a very high success rate. I mean, can you call 70% a high success rate? I don't know. So I did have a 70% success rate with keeping those tubers, but as it's been discussed in the growing dahlia Facebook groups and stuff, if you saran wrap them and it starts to get warmer, like it would be in here, that moisture would have nowhere to go and your tuber is going to rot. So if you don't have a cold area to keep your tubers, like a root cellar or a, ooh, the light automatically shut off from the garage door. If you don't have a cool area to keep those and the temperatures are consistently above 50, 55 degrees, you probably will have a higher level of rot. But with this method, I have the wood chips, so if it does get warmer in here, these will soak up any sort of moisture and stuff like that. But so far, so good. I mean, I've only looked at that tuber and it looks great, so. I also found that it was a giant waste of time to divide tubers that were going to rot. If 30% of my stock rots, that's 30% of the time that I took to cut and divide dahlias and stack them. That was wasted time. So with this method, I'm hoping that it's less wasted time. I'm trying to get on this whole like stop wasting time wagon. We'll see if I stay on it. I do have some empty crates here. That's for crating up some tulips. I'll be doing that later this week. I just got my soil in from that. I can't wait to share that information with you guys. So I'm going to attempt to do some tulips a little bit sooner. I'm gonna try to force them. So I heard it's a really super simple thing to do. I'll probably massively fail at it, but we will try anyway. So this is what the empty crates are for. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 crates of dahlias. And then I actually have more that I just pulled out of the ground that I have to crate up still, like I said. So I do have 3 or 4 more crates that I have to line and then fill with wood shavings. So that'll be great. I'll get on that later this week. Right now I gotta go cook dinner, so not today. Thank you guys for heading back to October with me while I dug up my dahlias, and editing this video today really made me miss them. Like, I really miss them. So we will be doing some, you know, check-ins with the dahlia tubers to see how they're doing, but so far I'm super impressed with how they're keeping. So like I said, it's normally between 40 and 50 degrees out here. If the forecast is like 20 below zero, like something crazy, we do have the ability to turn the heat on in here just to keep it warmer so these do not freeze. I was contemplating putting them up in the attic of the garage, but I think that gets too cold. That definitely dips into the 20s, and I don't want to risk that with the dahlias. So in the garage, and they're way as far away from the pellet stove as they can get. Probably, I would say, wait, this is like a 36-foot deep garage. That pellet stove's there, and these are right here by the door. So it's literally as far away as it can be in this heated space. But like I said, it's only heated a few days a month when we hang out here. So what else do I have to say about the dahlias? What else do I have? Oh, I put an order in for next year's dahlias, and it's not crazy. It's not crazy, but I'm excited because I'm trying some new varieties, and I'll be sharing those with you guys probably in January. I'll do another I Dream of Dahlias, the 3rd edition. Can you believe this is the 3rd edition of my I Dream of Dahlia videos? So yeah, I've got quite a few coming, but not like, the number is not insane. The different varieties are kind of insane. Really excited. What? Anyway, thanks guys for sticking around, and we will see you soon. I've got my favorite video of the year coming up, hopefully in a couple of days. It's the blooper reel for 2021. See ya. Did you make this?
Yes.
Look how pretty. We made cookies yesterday. Beta's just showing me this one. She wants to eat it. Can I eat it? Sorry, here you go. Eat it.